Doug Gottlieb. He, of course, the host of the Doug Gottlieb Show, weekday afternoons here on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. Follow Doug on Twitter at Gottlieb Show. Doug, we really appreciate your time, particularly at this hour. How are you?
I'm well. Actually, I'm on the other side here in Miami, doing a little TV as well. So, good morning to you. As you know, I listen to your show I'm in my car, so I love catching up.
Well, appreciate that, Doug, and welcome to Florida. Kobe Bryant, if I just say those two words to you, what's your reaction?
Well, full disclosure, I may be a little bit too close to this one to give you a normal sports guy answer because, my daughter lost two friends on that plane crash. She was friendly with Gianna. She had gone to school with her for a couple of years, and then Alyssa Altabelli, who her and her dad and her mom died, she was very close with. So, when I heard the news, it's a little different. I'm trying to console a 13-year-old, and she knew more about it than anybody in the news did, and, very, very raw. And then I'd gotten to know Kobe really well here in the last couple of years. Our kids have gone to school together, and, we kind of traveled, and we knew a lot of the same people, and we started texting back and forth, and one night we went out and had drinks, and he's just a fascinating person. So that's what I get around to. If you ask about Kobe Bryant, 41 years old, dying suddenly in a helicopter crash, I would say it's one of the most successful and complex tales of an athlete or an icon in the history of the world. I mean, there's so many layers to it. Really, I mean, you think about it. Obviously, the championships, the failures, I don't know, we're not going to point out often right now that, remember, he quit on his team, against Phoenix in the NBA playoffs. He ran Phil Jackson to retirement, and then he came back. And, he would tell you his greatest claim to fame, everybody thought Pau Gasol was too soft to win a championship. Nobody thought Pau was soft after they won two championships. And then, he has the Achilles tear. And then he scores 60 in his last game, and then no one knows if he's going to what's going to happen when he goes away. And now he's got the media empire. I mean, the whole thing is, getting married very young with Vanessa, and his parents kind of bailing on him. Like it's a complex and really, really interesting tale of a brilliant, talented guy who's gone and leaves in more likable now than he was when he was a player.
Did he ever talk to you about, because obviously everybody's running all the video and the interviews that they have over the last 24 hours with Kobe, sure, and how, Kobe was really unlikable to his peers for probably the first 2/3 to 3/4 of his career. Did he ever talk to you or anything that you observed as to, did he change? Did he just mellow with age? The fact that Kobe became as beloved as he did by his peers after shunning them for most of his career.
Yeah, I don't know if his peers, I would say the younger generation, right? I would say it's more the younger generation than his peers. And I think, look, he was always well respected. He was never liked, and they always respected him. And then the new generation respected him and liked him because they didn't have any reason to dislike him. Like those last couple Laker teams he played with, it wasn't fun. If you remember, he missed. He hadn't come to practice in 3 months, and then he lays into them with a bunch of F-bombs about how lazy they are. Like, hey, dude, you ain't been coming to practice in 3 months. So. I mean, there was a little bit of hypocrisy to it. I just think that's kind of the general. That's what happens. Is people are even. I mean, think about ex-presidents. There's a president you didn't like, and now all of a sudden you're like, he's not bad. Bill Clinton, you're like, I kind of like him now. If you didn't like Bush, like, who doesn't like George Bush now? I mean, that's just kind of what happens. People mellow with age. But I also think that. He may be kind of the last of that ilk. He was very, very bright, but he was not socially super aware. So there's a little bit of Kyrie there to him, where I don't know if he knows how he's perceived. Late in his career, I have NBA friends who said like he'd randomly reach out text, like completely out of nowhere. So I do think there was probably some thought into, hey, I need to do a little image rehab, get to know people. But, I feel like he also fit in maybe a little bit more with the Silicon Valley types and the developmental creative types than he did in an NBA kind of locker room. So it really is, like I said, an interesting tale with how the perception of him has evolved, right? I mean, because there was a time when the perception he broke up, he was Yoko, right? He broke up the Beatles.
Right. No, there's no doubt there. And I referenced it earlier. I was more of a Shaq guy than a Kobe guy. I was on the Shaq side of that one. So I totally get the perspective you're coming from. And first and foremost, Doug, I just feel awful for your daughter today. That's really your whole answer. That's all I was thinking of wanting to say, because that just that sucks when you're young and you lose somebody, because it's very hard for those who's at a certain age. But at 13, it's a hell of a lot more difficult. But as far as Kobe goes and you becoming friendly with him, the one thing, Act 2 for a lot of us, and I just mentioned David described me to a group of people when I first joined with him, is that after saying some things, he goes, but he can be a bit of an a-hole. And I'm like, I can accept that because I can be. I have a 5-year-old daughter now. That changes you. How much do you think Kobe changed having his girls? And it certainly seemed like this guy was pretty happy post-career.
Dude, to say what he said last week, he's like, yeah, Elena Del Don can play in the NBA. Like, come on, man. He was all in on it. I'm sure, look, God's always gotten back at us, right? With any guy who had maybe too much fun in college or early on in his single life has all my friends, firstborns or daughters. I have twins. So, yeah, I think that changed him. I think the whole thing, I think how he became beloved at the end of his run with the Lakers changed him some. I think the injury, seeing his mortality, changed him some. So I think all of it, we're all kind of, here's how I like it. That picture of the evolution of man where he goes from like hunched over to standing up straight? Like that's kind of all of us. None of us are standing fully erect. We're all just kind of evolving as we go on here. And whether it was, having not just having daughters, but now he had 2 little ones. He just had a baby this summer. Not having basketball that one year when he tore his Achilles tendon, that really changed him. He was around his daughter's school a ton. Coaching with girls basketball and, the Mamba Academy, which was, really another facility. And everybody thought, well, you're just going to slap Kobe's name on it. Like, no, he actually was really involved. Then he started, being, this guru for Jason Tatum and others to come visit and work with. So, yeah, I think the whole thing kind of softened him and evolved his image.
Doug, you're 3 years older than Kobe. Were you ever on the court with Kobe? I know you were with the Lakers summer league team. Never a pickup game in SoCal? Never?
No, he was not and I could have, I lifted weights with him 4 a.m. at Equinox in Newport Beach. he told a great story. He told a story that one time he was in there working out. And it was like 4:30 in the morning, and some guy had headphones on. He was like bench pressing, and Tiger was in there as well. Just happened to be in town. And like the guy sits up from bench pressing, and he looks to one side, he's got Kobe Bryant, the other side, he's got Tiger Woods, and he starts geeking out, like thinking he's imagining these things. But no, I never hooped with him. Jordan had a camp when I was in college, and I was a counselor. I got to hoop with him, but I didn't with Kobe. And he's a little bit of a recluse. Like even where we live, like. No Laker was going to live in Newport Coast. Like that is so far off the beaten path. And then that helicopter was his way of getting back to LA, and avoiding traffic. So I don't know. He was a great scorer. Obviously, in a world of efficiency now, he had an inefficient way of doing it, but it worked at the time, and he'll go down. I think he'll go down maybe a little bit better player than he was. Like I think he was great. I didn't think he was close to Jordan, but I do think that he'll go down now as the Jordan of his era.
Doug, did it strike you at all And, you're a professional athlete and you're much higher up on the media rung than we were. But what struck, I think I can speak for Mark in saying this, is what struck me was the reaction worldwide. And that it wasn't just because of the shockingness of the life lost so suddenly. It's just that I didn't realize Kobe was that big worldwide. Did you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's because of, look, he had really done a good job in China. He was the first one in China. He would tell you that he went to Nike and said, "Hey, we got to dominate China." That was his singular cause, and he spent I think 15 straight summers he spent going to China. And they would play against Yao consistently, being in the Western Conference. He won championships, won gold medals. And if you also remember, after the Jordan era, one of the reasons that David Stern put in the dress code was, guys like Rasheed Wallace, guys like Allen Iverson, kind of counterculture guys. But Kobe was never like that. He went through a little stage like that, but for the most part, he took the Jordan, approach to style. He wasn't walking in with handbags. He was walking in with a suit, like a businessman. So I think there's a lot of different elements to it. But yeah. I mean, look, I can only tell you that, like, in Los Angeles, this is considered like a national tragedy. I mean, the whole town is just moping around. And I almost feel bad for LeBron James. Like, LeBron just passed Kobe, said these amazing things about Kobe on Saturday night. Sunday, Kobe dies. LeBron could win 5 championships, 2 with Bronny. It's forever a Kobe Bryant town. Magic was a greater Laker, okay? And, LeBron's had probably a better and more impactful career, but L.A. is forever a Kobe town.
There was somebody in Los Angeles yesterday who said that this is the equivalent of the Kennedy assassination.
Yes. Yes, I mean, it's very sad, obviously, in comparison to, a tragic day in Dallas in '63. But yeah, I turned to my mom and my wife were watching my daughter, and we both got. And I said, "This is a remember where you were moment." Remember where you were moment. It's just so sad. I mean,
Doug, our condolences to your daughter and your family.
I appreciate it. There's some other families that'll come out that lost loved ones. So it is a very sad day, and pretty interesting though. It does prove, though, if you look at his life, it's not the last chapter is not written until the book is closed, and there was a lot of different things in his career in which we would have had a different perspective had it ended then, and it didn't. And now he goes down as a complete icon legend.
Doug, thanks for making time for us. Enjoy your week on our coast. Safe travels.
Anytime, guys.
Doug Gottlieb, 3 to 6 Eastern, nationwide on Fox Sports Radio. We, of course, carry a show here on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.